babies incinerated to heat UK hospitals. Soylent Green, ladies and gentlemen, is made out of people.
But now children are literally being passed through the furnace in order to fuel hospitals in the UK. They're being sacrificed on the altar of efficiency and prosperity.
What is the secret of Soylent Green?
The powdered flesh from dead babies. Some people believe they can cure disease.
Because of its enormous popularity, Soylent Green is in short supply. Remember, Tuesday is Soylent Green Day.
The supply of Soylent Green has been exhausted. You must evacuate the area. Today is Tuesday!
The federal court ruled that the shareholders of PepsiCo, big Bilderberg Group company, are not allowed to know what they're using the baby parts for in the flavoring, but we already know. So enjoy the flavor.
We're going to get the real solution, which is going to be a combination of death panels and sales taxes.
I'm consistently pro-death. I'm for assisted suicide. I'm for regular suicide. I'm for whatever gets the freeway moving.
Is spending $1 million on that last 3 months of life for that patient, would it be better not to lay off those 10 teachers and to make that trade up in medical costs? But that's called the death panel, and you're not supposed to have that discussion.
They told me to say that they were sorry, but that you had become unreliable.
Is this the kind of society that you want to live in? Any kind of society that would do this to its children will do it to its senior citizens. It will do it to its dissidents. That kind of society will also eventually turn on its police, on its army, on its prison guards, on the quislings and the collaborators who make that possible. This is nothing but a suicide cult.
The scoops are on their way. The scoops are on their way. I repeat, the scoops are on their way.
You will find out why Soylent Green means life. You will find out why Soylent Green means death.
We gotta stop them!
What is the secret of Soylent Green?
Soylent Green is people!
We got to tell them.
Next thing they'll be breeding us like cattle.
We got to warn them.
You gotta tell them.
Next, they'll be breeding us like cattle. And that's the point we've gotten to. First off, my friends, Donald Trump has had his attorney general come out, Jeff Sessions, and said the number one priority right now is going after Julian Assange and, quote, leakers. Well, you're not a leaker when you're exposing criminal activity in an out-of-control rogue government. And it was WikiLeaks and the great patriots in our government that leaked the information that helped get the truth out about the Democratic Party and the Republican establishment that put Donald John Trump into office. We always hear Donald Trump as this incredibly loyal person, an honorable man that stands up for what he believes in. And he's done that on many promises he said he would carry out. But quite frankly, the disloyalty of making it the top priority or demonizing Julian Assange and others is amazing. It's Donald Trump that said, I don't know who's got these emails. I don't know where missing emails are. She's covering it up, 30-something thousand of them. But if Russia does have them, Russia release them. Because they changed the subject to Russia being bad instead of why did Hillary have all these illegal servers and was doing all this illegal stuff that other governments and people were getting into. Exactly. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I couldn't stand George W. Bush. I couldn't stand Bill Clinton or Barack Obama because they were globalist. They were elitist. They were selling the people out. I'm somebody that really tries to get to the heart of the matter and what's going on. Even though it's painful to cover some of these topics, and even though it's very, very upsetting to see the media take out of context what we cover, what we say, and what we do to demonize us and to lie about us. I've seen that in the last few weeks at a level I've never seen it before. Pure and total deception. I go on Joe Rogan's podcast a few months ago. Number one podcast he's ever done. Number one podcast ever, period. Now over 60 million downloads conservatively for one podcast. A 4-hour one at that, or 3 hours, 45 minutes. And we say, we don't agree with Trump. He's got big problems, like grab him by the you-know-what. Yeah, none of us agree with that. But you can see how the media took it out of context and acted like he was jumping out of a bush grabbing women. These were women throwing themselves on him So I wouldn't call it rape, but it's still, not good behavior to say, yeah, you can just grab them. But that's how, animals basically behave, and we're mammals. It's all over the news again. Alex Jones defends Donald Trump. They'll play the clip, but on both ends of it, ladies and gentlemen, they will not show you Joe Rogan, myself, Eddie Bravo saying Trump is wrong. Trump shouldn't have done it. Trump does a lot of bad things. Those are quotes. And I've sat there with newspapers and even talked to the newspapers and said, here's the full clip. We're live on air here. Teleprompter free, a lot of bad allergies in the air. Excuse my coughing. And I've sat right there and said, here's the full clip. And they don't care. They laugh at me. They absolutely laugh at me, and they think it's all a big, giant joke. Yeah, they laughed last year. They laughed this year. They cut it out of context, and they lie. Ladies and gentlemen, I would never do that to somebody. And in fact, when we've gotten pieces of news that we've discovered have been taken out of context that we were given, we come out and do a retraction. And then the media runs around saying, oh, they admit they're fake. They did a retraction. No, it's because we're not fake. When we get more information and learn we were wrong about something, that we come out and talk about it. Now, I'm going to get into some new Sandy Hook information here today. Newtown, the massacre. I'm going to break it down, some of the new developments and what's been happening in the media. And the first thing I want to play, though, before I get into this, to kick this off, and I'm going to get back into Donald Trump later, it all ties together, is Madeleine Albright on 60 Minutes with Leslie Stahl 15 years ago, saying 500,000 Iraqi kids dying was a reasonable price to pay. And I'm going to tie that into Sandy Hook and so much more straight ahead. Here's Madeleine Albright.
We have heard that 500,000 children have died. I mean, that's more children than died in Hiroshima. And is the price worth it?
I think this is a very hard choice, but we think the price is worth it.
So there you go. It's a good price. It's worth it. That's 500,000 Iraqi children. The 1991 war was wrong. Turns out Saddam was a CIA operative who was ordered to attack Iran in the Iran-Iraq war, ordered to attack Kuwait, given the green light. U.S. ambassador told him it was okay. But what am I getting at here? Why is this so important? Because we all know they got us into that war saying babies were in incubators and got thrown out on the floor and their brains kicked out. And that was by a young lady who was a PR firm daughter, 15 years of age, in acting lessons, who'd never been to Kuwait. We then got lied to about WMDs in 2003. And we've been lied to over and over again with this latest chemical attack, where they caught the rebels as usual, bragging about how they launched the chemical attacks. And then we cover it, and the media says we're Russian agents or Assad agents, when in 2013, Congress and the UN came out and said the rebels have been caught launching a chemical attack. Where's the left criticizing Trump for doing that? You're not there. Then some will say, oh, what, you don't like Trump? No, I like him on most issues. I think the Syria thing and other things are very, very questionable. That's what I'm getting at here. We don't choose sides except for the truth. And it doesn't mean it's easy to find sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, because there's a lot of research has to go into this. So we're not just sound bites here. And this isn't about defending InfoWars or myself. It's about the audience and new viewers who've only heard lies about us, understanding that we're really giving you in-depth research and showing you where we got the research so you can verify this for yourself. Now, what's the new Newtown info, and how does this tie into the tragic event that happened on Obama's watch? The media since day one has said that I said the attacks never happened. When you can go and find myself and Rob Dew and everybody else that works here on air in more than 7 debates we've done with both sides, people that think the official story was exactly as it happened, and former top school security training experts, law enforcement folks like Wolfgang Halbig saying he believes nothing happened. Quite frankly, I've said I don't know the truth. But if you've got a government caught lying about WMDs that causes wars that kill millions of people and hundreds of thousands of children from starvation that Bill Clinton intensified, and people that launch fraudulent wars against Syria, all based on lies, and they do this over and over again, I don't want them to sit there and shake their finger at me like I'm a demon that doesn't care about children being shot in mass shootings. I believe mass shootings happen. I believe people get killed by guns. I know the statistics. It's like the 14th or 15th, depending on the year, cause of death. Drowning's higher, car wrecks are higher, cancer's higher. We all know that. But for unnatural death, it's not even in the top 10. And that's counting even the suicides into it. But still, it's an issue. And no one's denying that. We've had Islamists run people over with cars lately in Stockholm, Sweden, and other areas. And they say, let's ban cars instead of Islamists coming in. They won't even say it's Islamists. They'll say a Swede ran over somebody, and his name's like, Akbar, whatever, from, as usual, Syria or Somalia. I mean, it's the same story. And I've got stacks of MSM saying Trump's wrong for even saying that this latest attack in England, the latest attack in Paris, killing police, running over people, you name it, was Islamic. Media meltdown over Trump correctly calling Paris attack terror, Islamic. It was. They have riots every night of the week, basically, burning down cities. Tourism's almost dead in France now. They've got millions of Islamists running around. My crew was there last year. You can't walk around at night by the Eiffel Tower without Muslims coming up and physically assaulting you. And I don't want to fight with the Muslims. The point is, you can't go to their countries. They don't let you walk down the street there. If you're a Christian or a Jew, they'll kill you. If you're gay, they'll kill you. So the media says I'm anti-gay because I don't want Muslims killing them. So here's my new Sandy Hook information. There have been, and I'm not exaggerating, 5,000 articles, because I can look in Google News, type in Sandy Hook, Alex Jones, and do an aggregate search the last year. Over 5,000 articles saying, I believe that the moon landings never happened. They'll probably clip that out. I do believe they happened. They falsely claim that I said the moon landings never happened. They don't show a clip. They claim that I believe that the Loch Ness Monster is real. Stuff like that. Okay? Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds a week. Now, thousands in the last year. And here is patient zero article we found. Donald Trump and the amazing Alex Jones, New Yorker magazine. This has got to be the most plagiarized story in history, because I looked at everything from the LA Times, the Associated Press, to everything else I've ever seen with patient zero, and they all lift the exact paragraph and don't even change it. This is the most crazy thing I've ever seen. Now, look at this. September 11th attacks. Jones' amazing reputation arises mainly from his high-volume insistence that the national tragedies such as the September 11th terror attacks, the Oklahoma City bombing, the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting, and the Boston Marathon bombing were all inside jobs, false flags, or ops secretly perpetrated by the government to increase its tyrannical power and, in some cases, seize guns. Jones believes that no one was actually hurt. The Sandy Hook, those were actors, and the Apollo 11 moon landing footage was faked. Now, you notice there's not links here. Now, let's talk about this. This has been in 5,000 articles since then, conservatively, that I know of. A lot of stuff doesn't end up on the internet. It's in newspapers physically or on TV. Just like you've seen more than 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 articles the last week and a half about me, saying, I've come out and said I'm fake. I've come out and said I don't believe anything I say. Never said that. There's no audio. There's no video. There's no nothing. People come out and say that I believe a few years ago when I wore a lizard mask as a joke, the Gore from Star Trek, and did a joke spoof comedy piece. They say I really believe that I'm a lizard and that I'm insane and that I deserve to be locked up in a mental institution. That's coming up. They're saying that about Trump, too. And I go, dude, I'm doing a skit like anybody else does, like Glenn Beck does or like Jon Stewart does. And they go, oh, my God, you admit you're fake. And you go, no, I didn't. And I've had people on the street walk up and go, you admit you're an actor? And I go, No. Sometimes when I do comedy pieces, like the one where Leanne, the headline from last year is Alex Jones turns against Trump, now supports Hillary. Leanne McAdoo didn't really beat me up. That was a joke. Or when Leanne likes to wear her chihuahua on her back, and we were making the joke, everybody kept petting her back, and people were walking down the hall, thought people were petting her rear end, and she said, we all do a joke video, so we did one. That's not real, okay? That's not real. Okay, when I was in Scanner Darkly with Keanu Reeves and stuff, and I say I'm a government agent in it, and then I get killed, that's not real. People back then thought that I was admitting that I was a government agent in that. Ladies and gentlemen, being a government agent's a dime a dozen. It's 1,000 times cooler that we built InfoWars organically on our own with our blood, sweat, and tears and don't censor people, and our crew can say what they want and do what they want, and as long as they have documentation. We are the open, most free news organization that anybody has ever seen, basically. But when I wear a hat of being in a movie, basically playing myself, where I play the part of Cobra, I mean, I've seen articles where he believes he's Cobra Commander. No, I did that in the 2008 election, making a joke that both McCain and Obama were criminals, in my view. And so it didn't matter who you voted for, because they were all launching wars and wanted more destruction. I mean, even a 2-year-old understands that sometimes mommy plays the part of, a character playing with blocks and toys, or sometimes mommy acts like she's a dinosaur, or daddy does, or sometimes daddy plays, cowboys and Indians in the backyard, or Batman and Robin. I mean, they talk to you like you're 2 years old and go, Alex said he's fake when he's Cobra Commander. Because, again, the media is going around saying I'm insane and he'd be put in a mental institution, literally. Because they say I'm a paranoid because of this video. And then it comes out, of course, no one ever diagnosed me with that or ever said that. The media just lies. But that's what's going on. I do these videos where I'm paranoid. They show it on the national news. They make jokes about it. Colbert and everybody else make jokes and show me doing this and say, look how crazy he is, deceiving their audience. I was making fun of people that are paranoid and are spying on all their fellow citizens thinking they're Islamic terrorists instead of just controlling the borders and not letting people in who are affiliated with terrorists. Now, I know our regular listeners know this. They're like, Alex, stop talking down to us. We understand you're using satire and comedy. We know you're serious 90+% of the time, but sometimes we put a top hat on and play the part of, the head of Goldman Sachs ripping people off, that you don't mean what you're saying. But again, they're trying to psychologically inoculate people out there that have never seen or heard the show so that they just believe that I'm an actor and don't mean what I'm saying, or I'm completely insane when I play the part of John Korzak, interviewing myself. People go, are you crazy? Do you have multiple personalities? No, it's called a skit. It was about high school level. I played the part of the devil, being pro-abortion. People then got freaked out and said, I even had one employee almost quit. They go, man, that was really scary. How can you talk like that about how wonderful abortion is for Satan? And I was illustrating how it's bad by playing the part of Satan. It does not mean that I literally want to worship Satan. Do you understand? But you know what? I've backed off on satire the last few years because people are so serious now. They want me to be more serious, but I do so little of it. I think I need to do more of it with like a warning before it. Parental warning, viewer discretion advised. You're about to see satire and comedy and other illustrations, not to deceive you, but to get you to think and realize. Because if I just get up here and say, read the vaccine insert, it says it can kill you, it says it can brain damage you. They have a secret vaccine fund to cover up the vaccine damage, which is admitted to exist, but the details are secret. Please learn about how it's this ultimate way to put the government in your body. Please research how learned immunity is real, but also has great dangers. Please learn about how the elite don't vaccinate. Here's mainstream news articles. No one listens. But if I get up there in a devil mask or a lizard mask and say, I want you to take vaccines and I don't want you to read the insert because you need to trust the government and do what I say and don't worry about all the secret experiments giving people syphilis and vaccines and cancer viruses, just please take the shots. Please take the shots. Please take the shots. Please just trust me. Drink the fluoride water. Don't look at the Harvard studies that say it can brain damage you and lowers IQ on average 10 points for every few years you drink it. Then everybody listens. Then it gets 5 million views. I do a serious video, it gets 100,000. Here's Harvard, here's UT, here's MIT, here's Stanford, here's this medical school. Cancer rates up 10,000% in pediatrics. Why are the kids getting cancer? Why is breast cancer up 3,000%? No one cares when I'm showing the Journal of Medicine and WebMD. But man, I put on a lizard outfit and I talk about the impact of fluoride on neurological development in children, I get massive, 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 massive views. And then people get warned. So they're saying, what do we do about this guy reaching 35 million people a year ago, 45, 50, 60 million conservatively a week now? What do we do? Well, he's done some comedy pieces. Let's come out and say, look, he's an actor, he's fake. And look, he's blown up quite a bit on air, so let's edit all that together and say he must be crazy. And then let's take everything from him. And let's take his sponsors. Let's take his advertisers. Let's take everything he's got. And that's what they do. Every major channel, every major news channel in the country has been saying for over a week and a half that I admit I'm fake and that I'm not real. Because they've shown clips of me dressed up in a clown outfit, saying really scary stuff, and say, this man is psychotic. We've got to take everything away from him. Think about that. And then I sit here bound to not even be able to speak about all the things I'm going through. And then I say, I was playing the part of the Joker. And they go, oh, my God, everything you said was fake. Let me tell you something. Everything I said as the Joker was true, but from the other side. Take your shots. It's good. It's good to die. Don't read the insert. It's good to drink fluoride water. It's good to love big government. It's good to lose your freedoms. It's good to support communism. That's done to warn people. And everything I say is documented. You don't have to believe me. I'm showing you where the media is saying Donald Trump's crazy for saying the attacks in Paris with a bunch of people getting killed last week, or the week before that in Stockholm, Sweden, or the week before that in London, England, or the week before that in Brussels, Belgium, and 238 dead in the last year or so, a couple of years in France from terror attacks. And AP, Fresno shooting changes the words from Allah Akbar, removes Islam reference. I mean, that's happening. They're the fake news. They're the ones deceiving. When I tell you Madeleine Albright went on multiple programs and said it was a good price to pay, 500,000 dead kids, I show you a clip. If I say George Soros said he wasn't ashamed of being a Nazi collaborator, I show the clip. Since I said it later, we'll pull it up. I know you guys, we got two guys running a show that takes 5 on the weekend. We have guests on. We don't pre-screen what they're going to say. Callers, we don't screen what you're going to say like other shows. Everybody knows that. So why? We're so real, they say we're fake. So here's the new Sandy Hook information. They have got the people that don't believe anything the government says mad at me because I'm saying I don't know exactly what happened. Sandy Hook's inconclusive. You've got the mainstream media saying in thousands of articles that I believe nobody died. And then I see tweets from Oberman and tweets from everybody else saying he goes and harasses families. He sues families. He gets in their faces. He says their kids didn't die. I've never been to Newtown. I've never gotten their faces. I've said, I believe kids died, but then I've said I see devil's advocate when we've done debates that no kids died and that it's all made up because the media has been caught making things up. We've had debates where I said both sides and they cut it knowing that. But you can go watch the full deals. Just like Pizzagate, Megyn Kelly. I said, I don't know if Hillary really was involved in all this pedophilia that's like in the WikiLeaks, separate from the pizza place. But I said, I know she said, I came, I saw he died in Libya. I know they made a good country that was stabilizing, working with the West. Gaddafi come out of the dark 8 years before. It's like 14 years ago now, or longer. And she funded radical jihadists to put hundreds of thousands of women in slavery in North Africa and Syria, and tens of thousands under the age of like 7 years old, little kids getting gang raped. Let's show maybe the Al Jazeera from last week. Also, International Business Times, tens of thousands of women in Libya being sold on slave blocks into slavery. Video of it. International Business Times. I've seen national pundits make fun of me when I talk about the government allowing Islamists to sell women on slave blocks. They go, what's a slave block? The migrant slave trade's booming in Libya. Why is the world ignoring it? Well, our government came in, took out the secular government, quasi-secular, put in radical Wahhabists, and the slave trade's back for men, women, and children by the Muslims. They started the modern slave trade. They taught us how to do it, but nobody ever says it because they're the Muslims. What do you think a harem is? It's a bunch of kidnapped women. But you go out to any women's march, Muslims are leading it with women wearing hijabs everywhere. And the Muslims are just completely loving it. Let's show International Business Times. It actually has video on the site of the women being sold. They actually rip their clothes off. I don't want to show that part, but they just rip their clothes off. They're just standing there, and the men are like, it's the most misogynistic enslavement of women I've ever seen. But that's okay, because it's Muslims. Open Europe up, bring them in, cover up the rapes, cover up the murders, cover it all up. So this is what I'm getting at with Sandy Hook. Here's the new info. It just hit me. The Islamists love the left. 5 million have been brought into Europe. Merkel's covering it all up. It's all going on. It's intensifying. The liberals love infanticide. They kill more people, less people on the highway. Bill Maher earlier. They're heating hospitals all over the West with the bodies of babies. We broke that 10 years ago. People couldn't believe it. Now it's mainstream news. They're selling infanticide. The big liberal professors want to kill kids up to age 3. This is all going on. You see right there? Migrants are being sold in markets of the rate around $200 to $500 a head. Look at that. As they come up through Africa, through Libya, trying to get to Southern Europe, Italy, Greece, Macedonia. And there's a link in there somewhere that goes to the footage, but it's too graphic to show here. And they make jokes saying, I'm crazy, the Muslims aren't doing it. It's not true. And when the Muslims shoot, kill, or run people over or bomb them, the news says it's not Islamic, like the 160 dead yesterday in Afghanistan. So here are these holier-than-thou people. When we question CNN, who supposedly is at the side of Sandy Hook, and they've got, in one shot, leaves blowing and flowers that are out, and you see the leaves blowing, and they glitch. They're recycling a green screen behind them. You've got, who's the female lawyer used to be on CNN? Fake Southern accent, whatever. She's on there with cars driving in a cul-de-sac in circles, and you see it's the same cars going in circles. And then we've got Anderson Cooper, famously, not just with the flowers blowing in a fake, but when he turns, his nose disappears repeatedly because the green screen isn't set right. And they don't like to do live feeds because somebody might run up. CNN did that in the Gulf War and admitted it. They just got caught 2 weeks ago doing it in supposedly Syria. Then the green screen cuts out and they got phones ringing. And all we're saying is, if these are known liars that lied about WMDs and lied to get us into all these wars and back the Arab Spring in Libya and Syria and Egypt and everywhere else to overthrow governments and put in radical Islamists, if they do that and have blood on their hands and lied about the Iraq war and were for the sanctions that killed 500,000 kids and let the Islamists attack Serbia and lied about Serbia launching the attack when it all came out later that Serbia didn't do it, how could you believe any of it if you have a memory and you're not Dory from Finding Dory, the Disney movie? Thank God you're so stupid. Thank God you have no memory. It all goes back to that. And I could go on and on about the wars, the lies, the racial attacks they cover up that are on white people. And I'm not black-white, but just this weekend they have Science is Real marches everywhere. And here in Austin they have signs officially saying white men run science. That's why they don't believe in global warming. No, white men run the global warming scam and want carbon taxes for the Davos group at $100 trillion every decade. And white men want to cut Africa and Latin America and Asia's food and water off. Earth Day is too white and out of touch with reality. Now, there's your New Republic headline. This is such a racist, anti-Western culture. There's only 7% white people. They hate themselves. They're dying. They're gone. Don't worry. They have a 1.2 replacement rate. The West is dead. Hey, let's at least pass the West and free market and some good ideas on to the rest of the people. I get it. White folks don't want to have kids. They're self-loathing. They've been sterilized by the water. Kill yourselves. Is that what you want? But don't sit there and tell me how much you love the earth and then lie about me and say that I hate the children of Sandy Hook and I hate all the parents and I think all the parents are liars and nobody died. I did an investigation because you can't believe one word comes out of MSM. And we had debates with both sides. But I read the headlines today about how I'm attacking families. Never a link, never a video, to make the media and the government and the system look like they're good, look like they're the good guys, when they're the bloodthirsty warmongers posing as liberals and as mainline conservatives that have been pushing all of this. But you can see Megyn Kelly, where I'm talking about Hillary funding Islamicists in slavery and murder and little girls being sold, and how she is directly responsible for hundreds of thousands of dead people and thousands of children sold into sex slavery. And then they say, and Alex Jones says this is happening in a pizza place in D.C. Here's the poor victim. Then they take me going to clarify, no, the media focused on the pizza place. I looked at it, said that a lot of the news and the info wasn't accurate. We didn't create it. And they say, oh, my God, Jones is to blame for all of it. Pedophilia exists nowhere on earth. That's the new thing. And Salon Magazine comes out and says pedophilia is good. So I want to tell Jeff Sessions something here. Trump is good on his foreign policy. I'm going to shoot a second live video here in a moment, but I want to bifurcate it here in a second, or demarcate it. Let's just say divide it. Saying the number one priority is going after leakers. It's leakers that expose the globalist and CNN rigging the polls and rigging the debates for Hillary and MSNBC and all their criminal activity, and the Democrats talking about how to make us poor and dumb and how to keep us in the dark. These are quotes, and all the horrible evil, and let's have the kids in the hot tub, and you know, and $65,000 of succulent hot dogs for the president. That means male prostitutes. That's fine. You know, I'm not judging the president for that. But the point is, that's there. They don't attack any of the real stuff that's in the WikiLeaks. They just attack whistleblowers now, and they sit there and they attack and then create straw men or stalking horses or paper tigers that aren't what I said or did to then misrepresent. And, you know, here's the good thing. They've miscalculated. Every time media creates new hoaxes against us and says we're the devil, we're the liars, we're the scum of the earth, people go research and they find out it's not true. And we've never seen the traffic to Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com we now have got, not even during the election. We've never seen the traffic and the new people coming to the site. I mean, during the election night, we had more for that day. It was like 30 million in one day, 80-something million the whole week. But this is people checking my name, checking the articles, people coming up to me on the street. Some have come up and have been mean. But most people have come up and said, man, I didn't used to like you or anything, but I went and looked all this up and found out you were telling the truth. You know, I found out what you really said. I saw on the news that you didn't even know your kids' names. I saw Colbert say that, and then I went and looked at the evidence, and it was you didn't know the name of a teacher. So it just goes on and on and on that the system thought they could sit there while I've been silenced and then misrepresent everything we say and everything we do, but people themselves have gone out and researched it for themselves. So we have had record visitors and record support and record purchases of the products that are excellent. Water filtration, nutraceuticals, supplements, T-shirts. We're not funded by sponsors. They took those away. The network that I'm on, the radio show, it has ads. I have some ads that are on there, but it's almost all our products now. And they're coming after that. You've seen all the articles demonizing it. But they're high quality so people see what's happening. But just getting back to Sandy Hook. Why is one headline we have running for this on Facebook, the vampires of Sandy Hook exposed or revealed? The vampires of the corporate media. Whatever happened there, one way or the other, the truth's usually in the middle. But they say don't let a good crisis go to waste. That was the White House chief of staff when Sandy Hook happened. There's emails from Bloomberg the day before to his national anti-gun group saying, get ready to move tomorrow. It should be investigated. All I'm saying is you should investigate what really happened. Most fake mass shootings, they have shooters and then kill a patsy. We know that's happened before. They've been caught before. False flag's a household name. I tend to believe that's what happened. But real mass shootings happen. I'm not saying real kids didn't die. We've entertained the idea because the majority of people online don't believe the official story because they've been lied to so much and seen our government launch wars that kill millions on lies. So they killed 20-something kids? So you watch the blue screens and you watch the fake stuff. And again, who's that? Who was the blonde lady that was the lawyer on CNN forever? And then we have a video where the cars are driving in circles and you see they're driving in circles around her. No, it wasn't Greta Van Susteren. It's the blonde chick with the southern accent. What was her name? We have it in there. And the cars drive in circles for like 20 minutes while she's doing an interview to say she's there, and it's the same cars. I mean, it's just crazy. It doesn't matter. Everybody knows about it. There's so many of these. Blonde female lawyer fired from CNN. She was on for 10 years. It doesn't matter. Hell, I can look at it. Shut it down. I don't want to look. I don't want to know. The crew's great. Just let's not. It doesn't matter. The point is that everybody knows they lied about WMDs. Everybody knows that stuff went on. Everybody. It's in our normal reel about Sandy Hook being fake. You know why people question it. Okay. Now, the crew's doing a great job. I just get so overloaded with information. Why do I call these people vampires? It's because they've been caught lying over and over and over and over and over and over and over again to get us into big, bloody, bloodthirsty wars. And they make jokes about 500,000 dead kids. And Hillary makes jokes about, I came, I saw, he died. So you destabilized a first world country, the only one except for South Africa and the continent of Africa. And the whole thing falls apart. And then you're up there never getting in trouble. And John McCain's meeting with the Al-Qaeda ISIS rebels. And they destabilize that country. We overthrow our allies in Egypt and put ISIS and Muslim Brotherhood in charge there. They blow up basically every church in the country. Our media won't even say when Islamists are attacking us and won't even call it Islamist and say Trump's crazy when he says it's Islamist. And all these serious things are going on, and you sit there posing like you love everybody while you're pushing abortion, while you're pushing infanticide, while you're pushing euthanasia, while you're pushing this death culture with Bill Gates saying if you kill an old lady, you can hire 10 teachers. No, you give more services, more quality, more of an economy. The economy rises, not the other way. As long as it's free market, you create a crony capitalist or socialist system, it does the opposite. So, understand that and understand there is a hit out on InfoWars to assassinate my character by lying and creating a artificial Alex Jones, a straw man that is not me, that is an imposter to go out there and misrepresent what's happening and what's going on and what's unfolding. And they think you're incredibly stupid. Now, I've got a video of Gulf War propaganda, babies in incubators, that I want to play. Another one, CNN caught reading off a script and false flag video montage I want to play. And I'm going to come back and we're going to stop the live feed. I'm going to come back later with another feed in just a few minutes. But this is so critical because it came out later. No babies were thrown in incubators. This was made up. That's admitted. I mean, they got us, that was 1991, then it was 2003, on and on and on, on and on and on. The rebels got caught launching chemical attacks 3 years ago. They got caught again yesterday. Ron Paul comes out, says it's happening, and Google begins banning me. We get an internal leak from Google saying they've been ordered to go through and ban us, saying it's fake news, that Ron Paul's not credible, and we cannot have Ron Paul on, saying that he believes it's a false flag, that the rebels have been caught before, and the UN says it was the rebels, and so does the Associated Press. And they said, because Alex is gaining credibility, this proves what he said, ban it, because it's fake news. Then it got leaked a day later. They said, okay, we did it, we're going to stop. But they're not stopping. Google says road vendor violated guidelines by instructing coworkers to rate InfoWars as untrustworthy site. We are way more trustworthy than CNN. We're trying to tell the truth. Do we make mistakes? Absolutely. But it's not about InfoWars. If they can shut us down, if they can demonize us, if they can win this fight, they can shut everybody else down. That's why spreading the links to Infowars.com, the articles, the videos. That's why sending out the links. That's why sharing Infowars.com/show. I know most of you know that, but it's a critical war. Start your own website. Start your own blog. Whatever it is, use Facebook, Twitter, and Google to pull to your own platform, your own site. They want to make it easy on their platforms so they control it, they censor it. That's in their own documents. Like Matt Drudge said when he visited a year and a half ago, we've got to build our own sites again. We've got to go back to the future. The future isn't sitting on Facebook where it reads your eye movements and then types for you. So you don't even talk anymore. First it's don't type, then it's talk, now it's don't even talk as language implodes. We need to go back to being human. Are calculators great? Yes, but nobody since Texas Instruments came out with one 40 years ago knows how to do math anymore. They didn't let us have calculators in school. Now that's all they've got. It's an example of how some progress brings us back. Like flying in a spaceship to Mars in a year, 14, 15-month mission when Mars is close to the Earth. Does it make your body stronger or weaker? Makes it weaker. You're in a high-tech spaceship, but you're going to an environment that has less gravity as well. We need the gravity of mental exercise, of physical exercise, of intellectual exercise, or we implode and we fall apart. We become Dory the fish that has a 7-second memory. Everything is memory. Everything is remembering. Space-time continuum. What happened 5 years ago, that's experience, that's knowledge. If you, let me explain something. There's information, there's knowledge. I want to show people a graph here, okay? Here's information, okay? When you're 5 years old, okay? You can interface the internet. You can speak, you can do basic things, but you don't know from life experience how to trust the info, whether it's accurate or not. You don't have the time or the memory of when you're 75 before average cognitive decline begins to make you more like a child. Because you see, you're once the man or woman, twice the child. You start out with low cognitive ability. You go to a peak of training, experiences, life, revelations. You hit a peak, and then your brain cells begin to die. You begin to do less and less. You begin to become the child again. Once the man. That's William Shakespeare. Twice the child. You're only once the man. You're twice the child. No one's ever done that graph, but believe me, that's how it works. Now, here it is in life going up. But if you don't have memory, if you don't train yourself to have a long attention span, that's the best part of life, is having a long, deep attention span. If you don't do that, you're transient, you don't care, you're not involved, you don't develop the neural pathways in your entire life. This is a 5-year-old. On average, by the time, it wasn't just Jews. In most European cultures and others, even in China, it's the same. At 13 years of age, they would normally do a cultural test to see if you were a man and then pass you into manhood or womanhood the next year. The next year. It was like school that was done by the local priests, the shaman, the tribal leaders. Depending on the culture, at 12, 13, or 14, you would go through testing and through rituals of hunting, of science, of different tests by the different elders to see if you were an adult yet. When they said you were an adult, then you could decide to leave your parents' house, leave somewhere else, do something else, go join an uncle in another, tribe 100 miles away, whatever. Or you could get married, stay in the tribe, whatever you wanted, or wait. But you had to decide if you were going to be a man or a woman and leave or stay. Now, normally by the time you had about 16, you were always kicked out, unless you had special needs. Ladies and gentlemen, they're telling people now that 35 is the new adult. 35 is the peak in physical and mental overall prowess. You then gain knowledge up to this level. But by then, at 35, you are at your peak. Women and men, you are at your peak. But if they arrest your development, and most men I know, our crew's not like this because that's who gravitated towards this. I'm not bragging, it's just true. Most men at 35 act like they're 16. They still want to hang out mainly with men. They want to get the approval of men. They act like boys. They wear sports jerseys. They want to play. They want to party all day. They're not serious-minded. And most of them at 35, what do they not have? They don't have children. You're supposed to have children by 16 in every culture biologically. If you're not having them by 16, there's something wrong with you. Oh, but see, there's college, the priesthood you've got to get into. And then by then, oh, you got to make money because you're in debt. Oh, don't have time for kids. It's all, they wrote books about the 20s, how they do this. Don't have time for kids. You're trying to get out of debt. Oh, you're 40. You're finally halfway out of debt. Oh, you want to have some fun now. Oh, you try to find a woman. Oh, she's barren. She's doing the same thing. By the time you figure out you want to live, by the time you hit 16 at 40, I'm giving you the big knowledge here, folks. At 40, on average, and they did this by design, you are now the equivalent of a 16-year-old. When I was 16, I didn't want to party anymore. I didn't want to play games anymore. I grew up. I'd already been in the fights, all the big rituals. I'd already had probably, I hate to brag, I'm not bragging, it's actually shameful, probably 150 women or more. That's conservative. I'd had over 150 women. I'd already been in fights with full-grown men. I was already dating college girls by the time I was 15 years old. I was already a man at 16. At 21, I was a leader. At 21, I had a radio show, one of the biggest stations in town, and by 22, I had top ratings. By 23, I was syndicated. By 24, I had my son. At 24, I had a son. I had a beginnings of a media empire. I was reaching millions of people, and everybody couldn't believe it. Ladies and gentlemen, Thomas Jefferson was leading Virginia by 24. Thomas Jefferson had 4 college degrees by 22. Thomas Jefferson was designing architecture by 20, building and getting contracts by 22. Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. Thomas Jefferson was the leader of the Illuminati by 34 worldwide. And I don't mean the modern devil worshiper Illuminati. That's the counterfeit of the real, quote, illuminated. And they were Masonic. They weren't devil worshipers. They created the country. And I'm not Masonic, giving you a historical fact. Now, I'm sorry. I said this is the secrets of Sandy Hook here. I don't want to finish up so folks get to their families. I've got one more quick video I want to do here live. But you have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, very few people ever even get to 75, which is biblically how long a man's appointed to live. And notice it's still the average life expectancy today, despite our technology. In the Bible, 75. But access to all this info doesn't do anything if you don't have the experience and then the spiritual connection, which creates the knowledge. I'm going to stop right there. And I'm not bragging about my success. It's normal. I was not arrested in my development. All the archetypes were unlocked at a very young age because of rites of passage that were still taking place when I was a young man that are no longer even available to most people. The rites of passage are all being removed. And yes, brutal fights was one of the rites of passage. Sex was a rite of passage. Having access to literature and art and culture and history and the occult and Christianity, all of it was a rite of passage. Other rituals I was part of were all rites of passage. Elders constantly explaining things to me was rites of passage. They're stealing the future. So am I bad questioning a government known for lying, a media known for lying, that lies that gets us into wars that kill millions of kids, that are obsessed with abortion and cultures of death and all this evil? To question them? Absolutely, I'm right. Did I say nobody died, it's all bull? Yeah, they took a clip out of context. And where I was doing devil's advocate in a debate, I didn't say that's what I believe. I said I could see both sides. They hope you don't see the truth. They hope you don't research it. They hope you don't find out for yourself. Because they think you're stupid and want to defeat you. Now, I know you understand that. Many of you are more advanced and smarter than I am. We've got to reach out to those that have been put in arrested development and are like children. so that they can bloom and blossom, because that's how we're going to have a future. I'm going to end this video with a couple videos together, Gulf War propaganda, babies in incubators, and then false flag video montage. Then I'm going to come back briefly with the fact they want to put Donald Trump in a mental institution, and we know why they want to do it here exclusively. We're going to break it down. But the bottom line is the vampires of MSM and corporate media and that whole system are the ones feeding off the dead children of all these mass shootings and these tragedies, some of which the government and other groups have been caught being involved in, to go to us that have ethics and care about kids and get us to give up our guns and our right to self-defense as if we somehow did it. They project their crimes and these horrors on us, when they're the ones in Chicago, New York, and other victim disarmament zones who have the highest crime rates in the world, like Mexico does as a country, they do as cities, because the elites have guns, but the people don't. And they're the ones that are literally behind the carnage and the sadness and the enslavement. And that's why they're the vampires of Sandy Hook and the people that feed off those deaths and use it to take our Second Amendment and more of our rights. And we see through it and how they back all these crimes worldwide and just how nasty they are. Here are these reports, and I'll be right back with another live feed.
They took the babies out of the incubators. Took the incubators and left the children to die on the cold floor.
I can only ask how these animals can commit such barbaric and inhuman acts and then deny that these acts ever took place.
Premature infants in incubators were sentenced to die by having the incubators removed.
The hardest thing was burying the babies. I myself buried 14 newborn babies that had been taken from their incubators.
Now is the time to check the aggression of this ruthless dictator whose troops have bayoneted pregnant women and have ripped babies from their incubators in Kuwait.
I could not help but think of my nephew, who, if born premature, might have died that day as well.
And they had kids in incubators, and they were thrown out of the incubators so that Kuwait could be systematically dismantled.
We interrupt our regular program schedule to bring you the following special report from ABC News in Washington.
As President and Commander-in-Chief, it is my duty to the American people to report that renewed hostile actions against United States ships on the high seas in the Gulf of Tonkin have today required me to order the military forces of the United States to take action in reply.
In retaliation for this unprovoked attack on the high seas, our forces have struck the bases used by the North Vietnamese patrol craft.
It would allow the president to wage war in Vietnam.
Israel claims the attack was accidental. Some former U.S. naval officers say it was on purpose. They describe the day's action as part of a continuing cover-up.
Pearl, I know we can't be very specific given these restrictions, but within those parameters, what did you see?
Well, what I saw, I didn't see anything hit. I looked almost straight above us. There was a vapor trail coming from my right to my left, and there's a cloud of something. It looks like it might have been an explosion, a cloud. I'd say
every statement I make today is backed up by sources, solid sources. These are not assertions. What we're giving you are facts and conclusions based on solid intelligence.
Saddam Hussein is a homicidal dictator who is addicted to weapons of mass destruction.
We came, we saw, he died.
10 days ago, the world watched in horror as men, women, and children were massacred in Syria in the worst chemical weapons attack of the 21st century.
The Assad regime, and only undeniably the Assad regime, unleashed an outrageous chemical attack against its own citizens.
After careful deliberation, I have decided that the United States should take military action against Syrian regime targets.
We can tell you beyond any reasonable doubt that our evidence proves the Assad regime prepared for this attack.
Yesterday morning, we awoke to pictures, to children foaming at the mouth, suffering convulsions, being carried in the arms of desperate parents.
On Tuesday, Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad launched a horrible chemical weapons attack on innocent civilians.
What is your message to President Assad?
The world is watching. The world doesn't do anything.
Assad choked out the lives of helpless men, women, and children.
We know that yesterday's attack bears all the hallmarks of the Assad regime's use of chemical weapons.
We see these beautiful pictures at night from the decks of these two U.S. Navy vessels in the eastern Mediterranean. I'm guided by the beauty of our weapons, and they are beautiful pictures.
This live special report has come to you from ABC News, Washington.
Boy, did I almost look stupid.
Dude, America kicked Hillary's ass and the Democrats, not the damn Russians. Can you give me some credit here? We're the big swing in Johnson, bro, not the Russians. Get that through your head. We're back. You understand?
Microaggression, cultural appropriation, offensive.
My millennials, stay woke.
In ancient times, man roamed the earth in a constant state of hunting or being hunted. Introducing Caveman, where cutting-edge science meets ancient super nutrients. Secure your bottle right now at InfoWarsStore.com.
Live transmission, come back with another live transmission on Trump and some key intel dealing with North Korea. The liberals wanted to put him in a mental institution and more. But they did find it. It's Nancy Grace. And that's in a longer piece we did at a fake set with cars driving in circles at Sandy Hook. And all I'm saying is, look at this. And they want to change the subject and say, he says no kids died, and then edit tapes. Just like I talk about Hillary backing Islamists killing small children, and they say that I said that was happening in a pizza place. And we've had national news have to do retractions on that. So this happens over and over and over and over again, ladies and gentlemen. But I wanted to bring Rob Dew in on Sandy Hook. Also, Travis Knight's welcome to pop in. I mean, it's just crazy to see this level of them hitting us with the same stuff. He doesn't believe in a moon landing, which I haven't said, and they'll mix in with other stuff and then misrepresent what we're saying.
Yeah, hey, Alex. The whole Sandy Hook thing is a quagmire because of the way the media and the officials up there were so secret about everything. And that's where people started questioning. That's the big thing. They were saying anybody who says anything on the internet gets caught with it. We're going to go after him. They come out first day. They have the wrong name of the supposed shooter. They have his older brother. And they have guns that they're calling out. Then they're pulling guns out of cars. They're finding people in the backwoods that are dressed up in SWAT gear.
And that's on helicopter footage. And they say it never existed. And then they later admit it does. And then the school was closed till that year. And then the videos, it's all rotting and falling apart. And nobody's even in it. And the kids are going in circles in and out of the buildings with their hands up. And then they never called rescue choppers. I mean, exactly.
Yeah, there's a lot of weirdness. There's some supposed dash camera footage where the people are smiling and getting their lunches ready, the police officers. You think you're going to have smiling police officers at a time when people, they're supposedly bringing out 20 dead kids, and they're smiling and getting their lunches ready on top of a police car.
And they had porta potties being delivered an hour after it happened for the big media event.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm amazed that, and then, there's never been any even blurred photos of any bodies or anything. We've seen every other incident where there's dead bodies.
Sure showed us the nerve gas kids in Syria, didn't they?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, we didn't even get blurred images with the dead kids in Syria. We got crisp photos. We got
video.
UN photos being held up we showed that clip with Nikki Haley. So we had plenty of stuff with those kids. No kids being shown in Yemen that Saudi Arabia is bombing right now. We don't ever.
What do you make of the media saying we're all actors? This is all a big sock puppet. It's all fake. Nobody's real. None of the news is real. Anybody can see what we're covering. It's real here all day. Our guests are real. I mean, you've been working here, what, 8, 9 years? Have we ever told you what to do, or is it controlled? Am I controlled? Is there a teleprompter, Rob?
Definitely no teleprompters. We have certain subjects that we may concentrate on overall, but it's like, get out there, find the news, and here's our spin is libertarian conservative. If we have spin, and all that is to me is what's true. It's honesty and truth. Yeah,
all we get is globalist, New World Order, brainwashing trash. I just thought of this. Can we play something off YouTube? What's the name of that really funny site that edits my videos together? Place Pong?
Well, he's done one with Caveman. That's pretty funny.
No, but how do you say it? Is it Place?
Place Boing.
Place Boing. Can we go there?
Yeah.
And not download, but maybe play the one that's called Oh So Trendy?
All right.
Because I've literally had the media now confront me and say, is this real? And I'm like, how do you even? Of course it's real. It's a funny video.
Yeah.
Where I sit there and I make jokes and I have fun and they edit it together. And then people say, yes, it's real comedy, like Richard Pryor. And then the guy's talented and edits it together. Like, I've had the media ask me, do you believe in goblins? You said you don't want Trump to get caught in bed with a goblin instead of a swamp. I was saying it's like Mordor. He's going in. He may get some blood on him, but I don't want him to get in bed with a goblin. And so then I asked the audience, do you really think I'm talking about real goblins? But that's what we've gotten to. In fact, the same guy did that, got millions of views. He also did the Obama if, bing bong, bing bong. So I'm going to play this because it's comedy. Then I'm going to end this piece, this live. I'm going to reset, get focused, because I went a little bit off track here. And I'm going to come in and cover this huge Trump news. So on Facebook and YouTube, get ready. In about 10 minutes after this is over, I'm coming back for one more piece. It's Saturday night, and myself and Owen Schroyer are back tomorrow, 4 to 6 p.m. with a Sunday transmission. Are we ready, gentlemen? It starts with, rip me off. I'm a trendy. I want to be ripped off by the system. That's who's ripping you off as the globalist. That's who's lying to you. That's who runs the IRS. That's who runs the geoengineering. That's who runs the wars. That's who runs Al-Qaeda, is the globalist. And they're crapping their pants because nationalism, from Le Pen to Farage to Trump, nobody's perfect, is rising. Here it is. Now the trendies go, rip me off. Get into it. Jump up and down. Julie going, yeah. I mean, that's what we're dealing with here, and I'm sick of it. That's called satire. And it illustrates how dumb I think so-called trendies are following the system. You're not trendy. You're not avant-garde. You're conformist, death cult dumbasses. That's it for this live transmission. Back live in 10 minutes. Infowars.com and on the enemy platform, Facebook and YouTube. Not getting what humans always thought was key, the bone broth. 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 Well, now it's the next level of that. It's caveman. But hey, I need a glass of caveman. Caveman. Man. It's better than Ovaltine. Better than Ovaltine. It's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Caveman is just over the top. What in the world? But now with the milk, I was like, whoa, this has milk in it. It tastes like good. Man, this tastes so good. Tastes like the best milkshake ever. It tastes like Ovaltine. It tastes like Ovaltine. It tastes like Ovaltine. Like good. It tastes like Ovaltine. It tastes like Ovaltine. It tastes like Ovaltine. Like good. Whoa.
This is, I can say without a doubt, at least in my experience,